Hello students and family members, and welcome to a Mr. Panza math video, where today our main focus question is how do we understand the value of each place value? Well, if you've been with us for the first couple of lessons, you realize that we've been talking about place value, and we've specifically mentioned this place value song, which we've sung repeatedly over and over again. We're going to continue understanding the value of each place value by singing that song and creating a place value chart. However, we also now need to recognize that each place value, starting with the ones moving from right to left, is always going to be times 10 larger than the digit to its right. In order to show that, I'm going to not only show and have the song playing in the background, but you will hear me add a very important part to the song, and that way you'll remember that each place value digit holder from 1 to the right to the left is times 10 larger than the previous place value. I'll explain it after the song, and then I'll show you a couple of examples. Give it a listen. Times 10, 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 times 10. Recognizing the fact that the tens place value is 10 times larger than the ones, and the hundreds place value is 10 times larger than the tens, and the thousands is 10 times larger than the hundreds, and the 10,000s is 10 times larger than the thousands, and the 100,000s is 10 times larger than the 10,000s, and the millions is 10 times larger than the 100,000s is extremely important. So if I were to fill in the rest of this chart, we recognize that when I'm going from right to left in place value, the higher I go, the more worth a number is if I place a digit on that place value. And from one place value holder, like say the 100,000s, to the millions is 10 times greater than that previous place value digit holder. Let's see some examples. Using the 3 steps above, if you were ever asked a question like this, you would be able to answer it correctly every single time. In the number 716,651, what is the relationship between the value of the 6 in the square, which is this red square right here, and the value of the 6 in the circle, in the number above? Well, all you'd have to recognize is the fact that we're talking about starting in the hundreds place value and moving one place value over to the thousands place value. And just like you saw in the previous slide, we know that from moving one place value over to another, you are 10 times larger, which is the same exact case in this example. The 6 in the thousands place value is 10 times larger than the 6 in the hundreds place value. Let's look at one or two more. In a similar type of question, we're looking at the number 42,779, and we are given the statement or question, what is the relationship between the value of the 7 in the square and the value of the 7 in the circle? Well, if you're talking about from right to left, the tens place value moving over to the hundreds place value, well, then we're talking about a 10 times greater number, because this 7 is actually worth 700, and this 7 is actually worth 70. So how much greater? 10 times greater. Pulling it out a little bit further in this example, the question says what's the relationship between the value of the 4 in the square, this red square, and the value of the 4 in the circle in the number above? 244,109. Well, if I pull this 4 out, the one in the square, I recognize that that 4 is actually worth 40,000. However, when I look at this blue circle 4, I recognize that that is worth 4,000, looking at the number in extended version, which means this 4,000 is 10 times less this 40,000. In other words, this 4 in the blue circle is again 10 times larger in this place value, the 10,000s place value. So the red square 4 is worth 10 times more than the blue circle 4. Using these same exact steps, if you're asked a question like this, the 3 in 3,576 is how many times larger than the 5 in 8,356, you'll be able to understand that we're just simply talking about the values of numbers being 10 times greater when you're moving from right to left. So don't let the words or the numbers fool you. The 3 in 3,576 is in the thousands place value, and the 5 in this number, 8,356, is actually 10 times larger in this number. In reality, you would think 10 times, but because you're moving 2 place values over, you're talking about 100 times larger. I know that one was a little bit tricky because we're talking about 10 times and then I switch it up on you, but let me show you a different example that actually shows the 10 times greater value just by moving 1 place value over. In the previous example, I somewhat tricked you because I went from the tens to the thousands place value. In this example, I'm not tricking you at all. The 7 in 4,576, with the 7 placed right here in the tens place value, is how many times larger than the 6 in 8,456, which is in the ones place value? Well, I know, based on the fact that I'm moving from the ones to the tens, in comparing this 6 here to this 7 here, even though they're in different numbers, I know that that 7 is going to be 10 times greater than it is to this number down here because we moved from 1 place value to the right back to the left, and that's always 10 times greater. And that's how you understand the value of each place value digit using those steps. Talk to you soon.